Hello, Graham from ArionGames here, and this is the follow-up video as an introduction to the rules of Advanced Fighting Fantasy. The first one covered the basic rules. You roll under skill or skill plus special skill if you have it. If you get under it, equal to or under, you succeed. If you get over it, you fail. It covered the stats, your skill, your stamina, your luck. And if you haven't seen that video, I suggest you watch that one before this one. So this second video is going to cover combat. Now combat is obviously a very integral part of many role-playing games, and indeed it gave the original gamebook series, Fighting Fantasy, its name. Combat in Advanced Fighting Fantasy is very, very simple, and indeed it's very, very fast. So if you're used to other RPGs, you may think actually it's too simple. But what you'll find is it goes really, really quickly. So how does combat work? Well, you use your skill, use your appropriate special skill. So in this case, our character from last time, Bobby the adventurer, has a skill of 7 and a swords of 2. If she were to fight something, she would roll 2 dice. In this case, a 3 and a 1. That 3 and the 1 is added to her skill and her sword's special skill. So they come to 9 plus another 4. That's 13. So she has 13 as her combat total. If an enemy gets more than that, she loses that round. If an enemy has less than that, she wins that round. If she loses, she rolls 1 dice. This one's a 6, and she looks on her character sheet to see how much protection her armor gives her on a 6. Well, in this case it's 1 point. If she wins the round, she rolls, in this case, a 1. Her sword would do 2 points damage because her sword damage track is 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4. So how does this work in actual play? Well, Bobby the adventurer is going through a dungeon and comes across a goblin. This goblin has skill 5, stamina 5. Now, monsters don't have special skills, they just have skill. It does, however, have a weapon track, so it's got a short sword, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, and some light armour, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. It's only scraps of armour, it's not a whole suit. So, if she's fighting a goblin, she would roll with the dice with dots on, and it's actually easier to roll all 3 dice together because you're going to need the extra dice, the white dice, in this case, for either armour or weapon. So she gets a 6 and a 3 and a 1. So 6 and 3 is 9. Added to her 9 for skill and swords comes to a total of 18. So her combat total is 18. The goblin also rolls. So we've got a 1, a 3 and a 4. So the goblin gets a 4 for its attack roll or its combat roll. Only has skill 5, so it has a total of 9. So that's way below Bobby's 18. So the goblin loses this combat round. However, it rolls a 4 for its armour roll. So we look on its track, and that equates to 1 point of protection. Bobby, however, only rolled a 1 for her attack roll. So she only does 2 points damage. The goblin has been reduced to 4 stamina. And unlike other games, you don't then roll the goblin's attack because the goblin's had its combat round, as has Bobby. They've both had the combat round. In AFF, only one person can win the round. It can be a draw. If they both get the same total, it's a draw. But you can only have one winner of a combat round, an individual round. So, Goblin has been reduced to 4 stamina. Bob is still on 14 stamina. It's looking good for her. So she rolls again. We get a 6 and a 2. That's 8. Plus her 9 is a 17. The Goblin gets a 7 for its total. Plus its 5 skill is a 12. So again, it's lost. This time her sword does 3 damage because she rolled a 5, and we look on the combat track, then we see a 5 equals 3 damage, and the goblin 6 stops another 1 point. So she inflicts 3, 1 point is stop armor, it takes 2 more damage. It's down to stamina 2 now. It took 1 in the first round, 2 in the second round. Hasn't won a round yet. We move to the third round of combat. Now her roll this round is not as good. 4 and 1, 5. That's a total of 14. The goblin rolls worse. It's not having a good round, a good fight combat, this goblin. The goblin rolls a 3 and a 1, that's 4. So that's again 9. So again it loses. It does stop another point of damage with its armor. Its armor's being effective. But Bobby does another 3 points. 3 points minus 1 for armor is 2 applied. That is a total of 5. The goblin collapses in a heap. The goblin has lost and is defeated. And in fact, unless they're looking to actually, the adventurers are looking to capture the goblin, it's dead. Nice and simple. That's taken 3 combat rounds. The adventurers won, which the adventurer should win. You know, the adventurer here has got a combat total of 9 against the goblin's 5. And on the 2d6 bell curve you get when rolling d6s, +4 is a huge bonus. So she should win. But she progresses through the dungeon and she comes into a room where there's an orc and a goblin. So now what do we do? Well, when you've got multiple combatants fighting one person, in this case we've got a goblin and an orc fighting the adventurer, she has to choose who she is actually fighting. So if she considers the orc more dangerous, she's going to fight the orc. So first of all, we will resolve the combat with the round with her and the orc. Because the goblin and the orc outnumber her, they've got an extra person. They both get an additional +1 on their combat totals. So Bobby rolls. She gets a 7. And that equates to a total of 16. The orc has got 7 skill. It gets another 1 for its outnumbering bonus, so that's 8, but it only rolled a 2 and a 1, so it gets 11. So it loses the combat round to Bobby. She hits it because she beats it in with her total. Her attack roll, her damage roll was a 4. So she inflicts 3 points damage on the orc. Its armor roll is a 6. It stops 1. So the orc takes 2 stamina damage. It's down to 4. Okay, and ordinarily I would then make a note of that on my piece of paper. So the orc is on 4. Now it's the goblin's turn. Now the goblin is not being attacked by Bobby the adventurer, but it's trying to hit her. So it also rolls. Bobby doesn't roll again. She keeps her same roll for the combat round. It now rolls a 7. So it rolls a 4 and a 3. It gets a total of 7. It gets 1 for its outnumbering bonus, 8, and 5 more for its skill. That's 13. Now Bobby got a 16. She beats the goblin, but she doesn't hit it. She doesn't do any damage. If it fails to hit her, nothing further is done. So if the goblin gets higher, it inflicts damage. If the goblin gets lower, then it misses, and that's the end of it. So the orc has been reduced to 4, and we move on to the next round. This time Bobby rolls really, really badly. Her combat total is a 3, or her roll total is a 3. So her combat total is only a 12. The orc is still the one she is fighting. Doesn't roll particularly brilliantly. A 5. It gets 1 for its outnumbering bonus. That takes it 6. Add on its skill, 13. It beats her. Its damage roll is only a 3, so it inflicts, looking on its chart, 3 points damage, but her armor roll was a 1, which stops none, so she herself takes 3 damage, 3 stamina damage. But now it's the goblin's roll. Rolls a 6 and a 1. That's 7. Add 1 for its outnumbering bonus, that's 8. Add another 5 for its skill, 13. It also beats her 12. Now its damage roll is only a 1, which for a short sword is 1 point of damage. She has to make another armor roll. You don't use the same armor roll for both. So the second roll is a 4. So her armor doesn't stop any damage. So the goblin inflicts another point of damage. Bobby's taken 4 damage this round. She's down to 10 stamina. And we move on to the following round. Now obviously, if she then defeats the orc, the goblin will lose its outnumbering bonus and should go down quite quickly. But outnumbering can be very, very powerful. And as you can imagine, a single goblin is not going to be a big challenge to an adventurer like this. 4 goblins, however, with their +3 outnumbering bonus at the start, means that rather than having skill 5, they've effectively got skill 8. And of course they've got 4 rolls to attack her. If she's only got a 9 total, she's only got a +1 bonus or a +1 advantage on any of them. So they've got 4 chances to beat her in a round. They can do damage to her 4 times. She can only do damage to them once. So that is the basics of combat. Now I'm going to do another short video on combat in a couple of days, because we do have situations where some creatures have more than 1 attack. We have missile attacks, we have potentially magic in combat, and all of this changes it very, very slightly. But the basic combat rules are: you roll your dice, add your skill, add your special skill if you're an adventurer, you'll roll another dice for your damage stroke armor. The enemy rolls a dice for their total, adds it to their skill, they roll another dice for their attack or damage. One of them will win, one of them will lose. If you both get the same value, it's a draw. No one does anything, no one wins. And that's all there is to it. So until next time, when we'll cover a few more advanced combat options, good gaming.